and you're going to make the best time if you can keep on that white line.
And Darrell, that looks like where he makes the biggest gains, on the exit of the corner, the first part of the straightaway.
Let off early, get the car down on that line, and then gas it wide open up off, and you're going to make good time around this joint.
Boy, look at the gain he made. Look how much he beat Ryan Newman coming off turn 4 on that front straightaway. It's all about where he's running and picking that throttle up and staying in it.
That just tells you his car is not pushing. It's not scrubbing off any speed. It's just accelerating straight forward. Got good forward bite.
Chatter on the radios that Todd Bodine may be dropping a bit of fluid. Something might be wrong with our pole sitter's car.
Well, I'm sure he's running the guts out of it right now, trying to stay on the lead lap. Doing a pretty good job of it, I might add.
31.5 seconds off the lead, and they're lapping at 32.5. So he's not all that far from going a lap down, and a lot of this due to the timing of pit stops. 78 laps are complete, with Ryan Newman out in front by 1.7 seconds. Here in Las Vegas at 82 laps, Ford, Pontiac, Ford, Dodge, and Dodge in the top 5 as Sterling Marlin fights his way back into the 5th place, displacing Robert Presley. And Sterling Marlin and his Dodge are really grabbing life by the horns. Here's how he's run today. From 24th on the grid up to 4th place. The point standing leader for more, Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, he really has grabbed it by the horns here at Las Vegas, starting in the 25th position. They were just a little bit tight before that last stop, and they had another great pit stop here. They're determined to finally break into the win column after what they've described as 2 frustrating weeks in a row at Daytona and Rockingham.
Frustrating because he's had a car that has certainly been in a winning position the last couple of weeks, and boy, when you get that close and you start tasting it, you want to take a big bite out of that pie.
Richard Petty long said, the best you can do on any given Sunday is put yourself in a position to win. Circumstances will dictate the outcome.
That's a beautiful thing about our sport, I think. I mean, every week it's different. You know, we can come here for the next 20 years, and every time we come here, it's going to be different.
I want to talk about a group, as he comes right up the middle right there, a group that has to be smiling right now. That's Ricky Rudd and that 28 team. They started back in 27th position. I talked to Fatback Michael McSwain, Ricky Rudd's crew chief, this morning. He said, Larry Mack, I've never changed so many things on one race car on race morning in all my life. He said, I could just tell you simpler what I didn't change, and right now it's working out because, again, he's up there in the top 10.
Oh, Fatback, he's changed everything.
I see a little bit of smoke coming out of Ricky's car right there as he went off into 1 and 2, though.
A little tire rub. I've seen that. The car does that sometimes.
Pass for 2nd place, Kurt Busch. Right there making 3rd place under pressure, Sterling Marlin.
He might have that hillbilly set up in that thing.
Hillbilly.
Yeah. That's when you put the left front spring in the right and the right front spring in the left. And that works pretty good on a track like this.
I did that sometimes, and I didn't do it on purpose, but it works out.
I'm telling you, that's how we figured it out.
All right, let's go to the leader's pit.
Well, Mike, rookie Ryan Newman currently holding down that top spot. His crew chief is Matt Borland. Matt, you must be pretty pleased with your rookie driver right now, driving like a veteran today.
He's doing a great job. I mean, he's really driving this all-tail Ford. I mean, it's unbelievable how fast he's going right now. He's real happy with the car. He's just doing a great job.
They made no changes on their first pit stop. And remember, guys, last year, 5 first-time winners. And Dick Bergman, he'd like to be the first of 2002.
Well, Todd Bodine would like to win this race as well. He had the pole and had his problem by pitting a little bit early. They've had problems with the car being tight. Right now, it's pretty decent, however. He is at the tail end of the lead lap, and all he needs is a caution flag to get him right back in this. I asked his crew chief today, Jeff Weiss, about the possibility he is leaking fluid. Weiss looked at me and said, us? Leaking fluid? Then again, in about 20 years of doing television, I don't think I ever remember a crew chief admitting his car was leaking fluid.
Okay.
We would never do that, but no. Dick, he better hurry because he's only about a second and a half from being lapped by Ryan Newman, the leader.
Or maybe Sterling Marlin, the way Sterling is coming. Now, he's 2.8 seconds behind Newman, but he's moved past Tony Stewart into 2nd place.
I expected the Dodges to run really well here with the aero adjustment they got latter part of last year. If you think about Homestead and a couple of places, very similar conditions here. Kind of wondered how they would race here. I thought they'd probably be pretty strong. Knew the Fords would be because they just traditionally run well here, but I thought the Dodges would be a real challenge for them.
Ryan Newman leads this race. His teammate, Rusty Wallace, was one of 3 Winston Cup champions who started back in provisional land. But Wallace trying to dig himself out of that hole, and he's done so. He's up to 12th place. There you see his march up to 12th here at lap 89.
And I think once again, back on lap 61, his group did a good job for him on pit road. He picked up a lot of positions on the pit stop itself.
He started having 1 for the money, and 2 for the show, and 3 to get ready. Now go, Cat, go. That's what he's doing. And how about it burns?
That's part of the story.
Hey.
Here's Steve.
Hey, guys, with crew chief Billy Wilbur. Billy, what have you guys done to that number 2 to make it so fast?
Well, we haven't done anything today in the race. We made a couple adjustments this morning before the race started in the garage, but all we've done today is put 4 tires on and clean the windshield. That's all we've done.
And one of those adjustments, guys, they went to a stiffer right rear spring. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, Dave Blaney in the 77 car restarted third. He's now in 8th. He's dropped 5 spots in about the last 20 laps. At the beginning of the run, he said his car was tight, really pushing, sliding that nose. Now he says it's loose off. I talked to his crew chief, Ryan Pepper, and he says, Dave says the car is not good on stickers, but as the tires wear on, the car seems to come back to him, so they're very hopeful that at the end of the run, this car will be very stout and climb back up the leaderboard.
I tell you, he's having a heck of a run here, guys, is Bill Elliott. He's right here behind Spencer. Tried to pass him, got messed up there with the 29 car. But old Bill, awesome Bill from Dawsonville, my rowdy buddy, is coming back.
This race is for 5th.
Spence is wobbling a little bit there. You see his back end kick out on him?
In the upper right, you see the gap from Bill Elliott, who we're riding with to the leader.
Tell you the truth, he likes it that way, so I guess that's probably not all that bad.
We're well into a run right here, about 89, 89.50 on the top end. Down in 1 and 2, down about 6,500. Climbing off at about mid-140s. This is down the shorter backstretch. Only about 8,400, probably about 400 or 500 RPMs that time difference on Bill Elliott from front stretch to back stretch because the front stretch is so much longer.
Larry, I can remember when if we turned an engine 9,000, we couldn't have made a whole lap. I mean, it hadn't been that long ago. Don't look at me like that. I know it hadn't been but maybe 7, 8 years ago, 10 maybe.
Kevin Harvick racing with that bunch, but he is a lap down.
9,000 on a push rod engine is a lot of RPM.
Well, and it's a lot of RPMs on an engine.
We'll get you fixed up. Next stop.
Or Jimmy Spencer's crew chief telling him, you know, just hang in there, buddy. We'll get you fixed up. Matt Yoakum, what are they fighting?
Larry, a great observation by DW. Spencer just came on the radio a few moments ago and said that I'm loose on entry, loose on entry.
And you know, when you're loose on the entry, DW, at a racetrack where you carry so much speed in the corner, it don't matter how good you are in the middle or the exit, you're so off rhythm by the time you get there that the car's bad all the way through the corner.
Like I told you, you never want to turn right, particularly at the end of the straightaway. Not a good thing.
At 100 and almost 190 miles an hour.
Nope. DW be letting off early to get jumping around like that.
We'll get you fixed up. We're going to give you the air back in the right front, work on the left side.
Okay, what they told him, they're going to put the air back in the right front tire. They must have taken air out of the right front because he was pushing, and that softens the spring rate on the right front. It dips down on the right front, makes you loose getting in. It's like, give me my air pressure back.
Yeah.
Do something else.
And a driver will take, I don't care what, they'll take tight and pushing over loose any day.
There you see Bill Elliott and Dave Blaney, the relative speeds of those cars, racing in 6th and 8th place. And Jimmy Spencer there now, 6th and 7th place. Now we've got a speed trap where we'll stop and mark these speeds and compare how these two cars are running. Going off into the corner, Spencer carries about 1 more mile an hour at that time.
Just look, they're running 2 different lines right here.
Yeah, Spencer got back up in that line he was running earlier, up high, wide, and handsome.
This is down the front stretch right here. Headed off into turn 1, rolling out of that throttle. Boom, Spencer about a mile an hour faster than Bill Elliott. Hit 130s down the middle of 1 and 2. Up on the back straightaway. This will be going to the end of the backstretch right here, turning into turn 3. Down the middle of 3 and 4, right there in the middle. Looked like Jimmy was just a little bit faster right there. Now we're off turn 4, back on the front stretch.
Stop, nice and smooth.
Always talking to the driver. You want to talk to them while they're on the straightaway, not racing each other. There it is, into the front stretch. Jimmy Spencer, 185 miles an hour.
Well, you always want to tell the driver, particularly when he's having a problem, struggling, that you can fix it. Don't know whether you can or not. You may not be able to, but you got to tell him you can. You don't want to get him down, get him discouraged, thinking that he's going to be this way the rest of the day. You got to keep him pumped up. Drive hard and get it fixed for you.
Jeff, have you ever lied to DW and told him you could fix it when you knew you couldn't?
Who, me? You talking to me, Mike? Me lying to a driver? Nah, I'd never fess up to that one. No, sir.
That's why we stayed together so long. I just like the way he lied to me.
Yeah.
Welcome back live in Las Vegas, and you want all your NASCAR experience to last all week. Make sure your cable system carries the new Speed Channel, home of NASCAR TV. The old Speed Vision is now the Speed Channel, home for NASCAR all the time. Call your local cable operator or satellite provider for the Speed Channel. With Jeff Hamill, there's Ryan Newman, and you see Sterling Marlin just taking the lead right there in his Dodge. And I'm going to make the point, Jeff, that last year we had 5 GM cars in the top 10 when this race ended. GM led 70 of the 267 laps here last year, but none today, and only one currently in the top 10. What's the problem with that?
Well, that's kind of hard to say, but I think Darrell brought it up earlier in the broadcast talking about the Dodges. They've had a little bit of a rule adjustment since the last time we were here at Vegas a year ago. Sterling Marlin, he finished 3rd, led about 36 laps. Today, to me, starting way back there in 24th, he's now taking the lead, looking pretty strong.
And the 88 move is the 88 car, Dale Jarrett, on the move from starting way back in the beginning of this race.
Yes, and I've been kind of surprised about the whole Robert Yates operation, but especially Dale Jarrett. I mean, they made some changes in the offseason. Really thought they were going to be a force to reckon with adding on the crew chief right now, Jimmy Elledge. But they've really struggled, I think, getting their communication going. But maybe today it's starting to come together.
And you saw the graphic illustrating how Dale Jarrett has moved up after starting at 37 to finish 2nd in this race last year to Jeff Gordon. Let's go back, if we could, to Sterling Marlin, who is the leader with Ryan Newman. And the youth versus experience in 10 races. This is the 11th for Ryan Newman on the Winston Cup. He has no wins, but 8 career wins in 541 races for Sterling Marlin, and certainly is one who knows how to stay in a points race, and he's illustrated that so far this season.
He has, and I think that's one of the things that everybody's been really watching to see how this team was going to come out this year. They were so good last year, especially since, Chip Ganassi has been a partnership up with Felix Sabates in that group. They've done a remarkable job as far as being very consistent. This car here could be a dark horse this year when you talk about the Winston Cup Championship.
All right, let's go back upstairs to Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Jordan.
Well, isn't this the time of the season where if you can run that car up front and keep it up front, let the points take care of themselves right now?
I usually drove pretty hard this time of year because that 90-day note I made back there in December is just about due. It's time to step up and go, man.
Our pole sitter, Todd Bodine, trying to stay on the lead lap as you look back from Sterling Marlin. And Marlin's going to put Bodine, who got caught off sequence in that caution flag in the midst of pit stops. Bodine's going to go a lap down.
And, there could be a deal being made right there. I'm not sure, but Sterling says, let me get by. Don't hold me up. Caution comes out and you're anywhere near and I can help you out, I will.